father, William Beaumarriage, and I'm going to be teaching him the action potential chart today. What happens is that this chart basically represents what happens in a neuron when it is stimulated by the action potential or the stimulus. Basically, each neuron, the resting membrane potential is negative 70 millivolts. It's negative 70 because of the proteins in it. That's what makes it negative. It's just the proteins is what maintains the negative charge. And it is maintained by the sodium potassium pump. So that's what maintains like the baseline level, negative 70. So once it is stimulated by an action potential, it can either reach up to negative 55, or if it doesn't reach negative 55, it automatically goes into a subthreshold, which means nothing happens, like no process happens, it just goes back to the resting membrane potential. If it is stimulated at negative 55, it will automatically shoot up to positive 30 millivolts, and basically throughout this whole time, what is happening is that sodium is being like added into the cell, which is known as depolarization. It is a sodium influx, and that happens basically because like within the cell, what is happening is that ACH, which is within the cell, is attaching to the sodium ligated channels, voltage channels in it, and it's opening them up and it's causing an influx of sodium the whole time. So this whole time is when it's being stimulated, but then once it reaches the positive 30 for so long, what happens is that those channels end up closing and then the potassium channels open. So when the potassium channels open, it causes something known as repolarization, also known as influx, which causes, because this the whole time is gaining a negative or a positive charge, this is when it brings it back down to the regular charge. So this whole time, it's just the sodium is being evened out by the potassium. But then, so it comes back down, it reaches the negative 55, which is the threshold. But the potassium channels take a while to close, which causes this thing known as an overshoot. So it actually overshoots the threshold and it overshoots the resting membrane potential. And so it kind of like goes all the way down, but then it ends up evening out once the channels close and it comes more back in its regular state. And so that is known as hyperpolarization right there. So this is just the process that happens within the cell. So if it gets the negative 55, it reaches and does its whole process. If it doesn't reach it, it just goes straight back to the resting membrane potential, and you just wait until it can receive negative 55 or above, and then the process will take place. And then it will just repeat and repeat within the neuron, and it will do its processes within the neuron.
Okay, so you said it does it when it's stimulated. What is this? What stimulates it?
The action potential. So basically within the cell, when an action potential happens, it causes all the processes to happen. It's the stimulus within the cell that's being sent from the neurons to the actual like processing of the
So
cell.
an action is when your body's trying to exercise or
Yes,
something
it's like
that?
it moves the muscle. This is the process is what like the neurons is making your muscles move.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So I'm gonna ask you a few questions about it real quick.
Okay.
Okay, so why is it negative 70?
Well, negative 7 is your resting potential,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then this is what it's at when you're at rest.
Yes, it's just you're resting like what it is.
Okay. And then when it's stimulated by a call for exercise or lifting weights or whatever,
Yeah.
then it starts to go positive charge,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And it only shoots up to here when it reaches negative 55. And if
Okay.
it doesn't reach negative 55, what does it do?
It goes back to resting.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, correct. And then why does it go straight back down? Why is it?
Because of the
repolarization?
potassium, the sodium, and then the potassium starts kicking in, and then the potassium, and it brings it back down,
Mhm.
but then it overshoots because the potassium doesn't close up fast enough.
Yes,
Right.
correct. Kill me.